Hey guys, it's Miss Hernandez. So I decided to scrap the idea for doing crafts every week because I feel I should probably just stop doing videos for now, for the summer, just because I feel like this is a time where you guys should be just relaxing and stuff. I don't really think people will keep watching these, so I just thought, how about I take a break and maybe every now and then during the summer I'll put out a video, but I'm no longer just gonna have it on a schedule. So, if I feel like I have a book I want to share, I'll share it on the channel and everything. But yeah, so I just thought I will finish the book we have been reading, the Scary Stories 3. I will finish this book as usual, so I'll still keep the same schedule for now, but once we're finished with this book, guys, I think I'll just stop with having a specific schedule, and I'll just put out a video whenever I feel I have a book to share with you guys and I'm wanting to, I'm being more interested. I just feel like I'm starting to get more busy, so yeah, I just thought I'll do these whenever I can. So with all of this stuff going on, guys, and the Black Lives Matters movement, I thought I would share a book that's inspired by an African American author and illustrator. So I'm going to be reading Tar Beach from Faith Ringgold, and I'll explain why I chose this book. I actually really love this book. I love the story behind it. I love how they made it. So I'm going to show you the cover again, and hopefully you guys will think this is pretty interesting. So I love little bottom parts right here. I'll explain why the cover looks like this and more, but this book actually got a Caldecott Honor Award, so that's very nice thing. So yeah, I just thought I'm going to share this book and explain the meaning behind it so that you guys can see the struggle that African Americans have had to endure for hundreds of years. And this has some background for not only slavery, but for somewhat of the modern issues that we see in society. So if you don't like this video, if you don't like the reason why I'm making this video, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to watch it. I just hope that we all stay respectful to one another. We show love, and we try and have a community where everyone can feel safe and feel comfortable with one another. So that's what I want to try and achieve somewhat with this video. So yeah, guys, so I'm just going to be reading again, this is Tar Beach from Faith Ringgold. I'm going to be reading this for today, and we'll get back to Scary Stories 3 on Friday. So I'm sorry if that's what you were looking forward to, but I feel like this is something I need to share. So here is the inside cover pages. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just start reading. Sorry. Here you go. Okay. I will always remember when the stars fell down around me and lifted me up above the George Washington Bridge. So you can see that's George Washington Bridge, and there's a little girl who's flying in the air. Pretty interesting. I could see our tiny rooftop with Mommy and Daddy and Mr. and Mrs. Honey, our next door neighbors, still playing cards as if nothing was going on. And Bebe, my older brother, my baby brother, sorry, lying real still on the mattress just like I told him to, his eyes like huge floodlights tracking me through the sky. So you can see how they're all outside, and their brother's just sleeping on the mattress. Well, laying down on the mattress. Sleeping on Tar Beach was magical. Lying on the roof in the night with stars and skyscraper buildings all around me made me feel rich, like I owned all that I could see. The bridge was my most prized possession. So you can see she's sleeping on the mattress also. Well, now she's sleeping on it. Daddy said that the George Washington Bridge is the longest and most beautiful bridge in the world, and that it opened in 1931 on the very day I was born. Daddy worked on that bridge, hoisting cables. Since then, I've wanted that bridge to be mine. That's so cute. They're practically made on the same day, Now I have claimed it. All I had to do was fly over it for it to be mine forever. I can wear it like a giant diamond necklace, or just fly above it and marvel at its sparkling beauty. I can fly. Yes, fly. Me, Cassie Louise Lightfoot. Only 8 years old and in the 3rd grade, and I can fly. That means I am free to go wherever I want for the rest of my life. Interesting, her last name is Lightfoot. I love that she's flying everywhere. Daddy took me to see the new union building he was working on. He can walk on steel girders high up in the sky and not fall. They call him the cat. So he's a working man. But still, he can't join the union because Grandpa wasn't a member. Well, Daddy is going to own that building because I'm going to fly over it and give it to him. Then it won't matter that he's not in their own union, or whether he's colored or half-breed Indian, like they say. Sorry guys, my throat's a little weird today. He'll be rich and won't have to stand on 24-story high girders and look down. He can look at his building going up. And Mommy won't cry all winter when he goes to look for work and doesn't come home. And Mommy can laugh and sleep late like Mrs. Honey, and we can have ice cream every night for dessert. The kid wanted to have ice cream every single night. That'd be awesome. Oh, look, there's an ice cream factory. Next, I'm going to fly over the ice cream factory just to make sure we do. So it looks like she wants to own the ice cream factory so she can have ice cream every night. Tonight, we're going up to Tar Beach. Mommy is roasting peanuts and frying chicken, and Daddy will bring home a watermelon. Mr. and Mrs. Honey will bring the beer and their old green card table. And then the stars will fall around me, and I will fly to the Union Building. Oh, whoops. I love the artwork in this book. I'll take BB, or is it Bebe, with me. He has threatened to tell Mommy and Daddy if I leave him behind. I have told him it's very easy. Anyone can fly. All you need to do is somewhere to go. Oh, all you need is somewhere to go that you can't get to any other way. The next thing you know, you're flying among the stars. Ooh. So it looks like they're both flying now. And then here's just the end picture. So it's them laying on the bed with their family outside. And if you look around it, guys, it looks like a quilt, which is the point of this story. One of the themes of the story. So about the author, I'm going to show you guys this page. So this is a page about the author. So Faith Ringgold actually grew up with hearing about stories from her family. And one of the ways that they would tell those stories was they would make quilts. And so they would take different patches of different clothing or blankets or anything that's cloth related from different generations of their family, and they would quilt them together so that it could tell a story through each generation. You would always be able to add your part of the quilt once you reach a certain age, or you start doing a specific thing that your family seems like to be proud of. So that's one thing I really loved about this story, is it's meant to mimic or to kind of seem like it's a quilt that's telling a story. So that's one thing I really like about this story. And the theme of how what was her name again? Something Louise. We'll just say Louise Lightfoot. How she is flying through the city. Well, the theme of flying itself was actually taken from culture during slave time. So slaves would say they're going to fly to freedom, and they would be able to fulfill themselves by escaping from slavery. So she used the flying metaphor as a part of her book, so she can kind of relate to that experience of slaves wanting to be free and with flying away to escape. So I thought that was a very interesting thing that she included in the book. She also added how people such as her father were unable to join unions because they were either colored or they were considered half-breed Indians. So that was a way of her alluding to how minorities are not given the same opportunities as other people in society, especially at that time. So that was a really interesting thing that she added to the book, not only talking about slavery to some extent, but also referencing how minorities are treated in society at the time that she made the book. Let me see what time this book actually came out. I'll be looking for that, but I'll still keep talking about the book. So she grew up in the 1950s and 1960s, through the 70s, and so she, during that time there was a lot of experiences with the civil rights movements, and they weren't going, a lot of like the minorities did not have as many rights as other people. So that, I think that's what influenced her to make this book, which I really appreciate. I really appreciate seeing this kind of book. And this book is called an autobiography and a fictional narrative. And it's, like I said, it's a story quilt. So it's meant to tell a story that's not only about herself, but about her community as well, while it's still fictional. So I really, really appreciate this book. It says it's the first of 5 quilts that she made about the woman on a bridge. And this was completed in 1988. So she came out with this pretty, I wouldn't say recently, but within the last 30 years, she came out with this book. Well, 32 years actually. So let's see what else it says. Yeah, so she talks about the bridge because she feels like it's a part of her life. It was a way for her to view everything else in society and like how she feels about her family. So I thought that was a nice personal thing that she added in here. Not only about her father, but the bridge, and like how she felt about her dad being a worker, as well as someone who wasn't able to have the same experiences as other people in society. So I really like this book. And I just love the artwork, like I said earlier. I love how they're making it look like a quilt. Even on the back, it's meant to look like a quilt. So I really love that part of the story. And it just makes me feel like one thing you could do is, make your own quilt. You could get, I've seen a classroom where they did pieces of paper, and the entire class, and I was actually a part of it, they got a square piece of paper, and every single student that was in the classroom drew something on there and put their name. And then the teacher put them all together and she put them on the wall. So it was like we as a class had our own quilt. So you could do the same thing at home. You can try, if you can have your parents help you, or like your family members. You can get together pieces of cloth that you don't need anymore to try and tell your own story about your family. Or you can just use paper, whichever one would be easier for you to use, and tell your own story. So I feel like books like this do kind of give you an insight on how people may feel, when it comes to being not a part of things that they should be a part of, not having the same experiences. Although that's not entirely the main point of the story, I feel like once you're able to explain the background of the story and explain why there are certain elements that are in there, it really does make people understand more. So that's why I really wanted to share this book, to support the Black Lives Matters movement. Sorry, I don't know if I said it wrong. But yeah, I feel like it's important to read more stories and experiences from people who are African American, because they can offer different views of movements like civil rights movements, or the Black Lives Matters movement, or anything else that they feel that they can share. So as a person in general, I feel it's important to read stories from every culture and read about different kinds of people and their experiences, just so you can open up your mind more and you can understand people and you can see different perspectives of situations. So yeah, I actually have another book that is for what's it called, Native Americans. Although I wasn't sure about reading this one, because if you do not explain the backgrounds of a story, it may come off as if it is racist or prejudiced. But if you do read the story, the background of why it was made, then you can understand it more. So just like Tar Beach, when I first read Tar Beach and I didn't read about the author, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I felt like it was kind of being prejudiced in some way, but not entirely. The same with the Hat Sound and the Monkeys. I don't know if you guys remember that one, but this book as well. When I first read it, I felt like it was making fun of African culture, but once I actually read, it was from someone who was raised in Africa. And the same thing with Tar Beach. It was someone who was African American. Their father, their family is African American. You know, they all had, it was actually made from someone who is a part of that culture. And I felt like that really enlightened you more about the book. So that's why I feel, guys, if you're going to be reading books, especially ones that are cultural or ones that are trying to tell a story and an experience from a culture, you should read who it's from. And you should share that so that it doesn't seem like the book is being prejudiced or racist. Instead, it's actually showing perspectives and sharing culture and sharing stories from specific cultures and backgrounds. So, like, this one is a folk tale that's from Africa. And this one is an African American experience about how their father couldn't join a union because of their race and color. And also, it shows like some themes of, you know, trying to escape and fly away from certain situations, rooting from slavery. So yeah, just read the backgrounds, guys. And you know, if you want, I could read this one for you guys. So I can preface it real quick, and if I see that anyone's interested, I will read this. I can read it for you Friday if you would like. I just want to know for sure if that's what you want. But this book is called The Rough-Faced Girl, and it's a tale. It's like its own version of Cinderella, but it's shown in a Native American cultural way. So all of the theme in here is based on one of, I think it's called the Algonquin Indian or Native American cultures. So it's one of the specific tribes of Native Americans, and it is told through that culture itself. So I read this book a while back. I thought it was very interesting, and at first I wasn't sure if it was appropriate for people to be reading, but then I did some research on it, and the author actually looked at the culture itself, the Algonquin culture, to make sure that they were doing the culture justice by putting this story in that way. So I really appreciated that some authors are actually looking and researching how to do these books, or they already have the experience because they're a part of that culture, and they go on to make that culture, I mean that book based on that. So it's just very interesting to read these books. So if you guys would want to see this one, I am more than happy to share it with you, while, you know, making sure that you keep in mind this is based on actual cultures. It's appropriate based on the culture it's from, or that they're trying to imitate. So, like, they're trying to do it justice and be respectful. They're not just, like, making it a theme and not saying where they got these themes from, you know. So, yeah, just make sure, guys, when you're trying to read books like this, that you're being very careful with where they're coming from, what they're trying to share, and what kind of story are they trying to say. And I think that speaks to people as well. You should be careful with what you're trying to say, what you're trying to share to other people, because, you know, during this time right now, there's a lot of craziness going on, guys, and it's a little upsetting to me personally. And this video just turned on to a whole rant, kind of. But yeah, you know, like, the main point of me trying to share these books is just be respectful of other people. Try and look through situations through their eyes. You know, look at people's experiences from other cultures and see how they affect society as a whole, and see what you can do to support people who feel like they are minorities, or who feel like they're not being voiced and they're not being heard. I feel like that's the best way for us to be helpful to one another and make, you know, our society a good one where we're comfortable living in and we feel like we can be happy, you know. So yeah, I apologize if you don't agree with any of this, guys. That's just personally how I feel. I feel as someone who lives in this wonderful country, we should be supportive and, you know, and have an open mind. So hopefully you guys will do that. And reading books is a way to do that, you know, even if it's just picture books, or if it's actual autobiography books, or you know, ones that are specific to like people, you know, like you can read those books, guys, and that will definitely help you open up your eyes more and hopefully make you a more insightful person. So I'm sorry again, guys, if you don't like this video. You don't have to watch it, you know, but yeah. So again, support those that you need support. Be their voice if they cannot voice for themselves, and just be a good person, you know, open-minded and insightful. And I will see you guys on Friday. Bye, everybody.